What if the same primal instincts that once kept our ancestors gathered around firelight are now silently pulling us toward our screens, our notifications, and our next dopamine hit? What if the ancient rituals, the rhythmic communal acts of meaning and connection, are now being mirrored in the endless scroll of social media, the sweet rush of sugar, and the hypnotic glow of our devices? We're not just adapting to the modern world, we're being rewired by it, one neural pathway at a time. Think about it. Our brains evolved in a world of scarcity, where survival depended on pattern recognition, social bonding, and immediate rewards. The same circuits that made early humans seek out food, form tribes, and create meaning through ritual are now hijacked by the digital age. Social media gives us the illusion of connection. Sugar gives us the quick hit of pleasure, and screens give us the endless stimulus that once came from the flicker of a campfire or the rhythm of a drum. It's not just a modern problem, it's an ancient one, rebranded for the 21st century. But here's the thing, we're not just passive victims of this rewiring. We're participating in it, often without realizing how deeply we're being influenced. Every swipe, every click, every scroll is a tiny ritual in itself, designed to keep us hooked. And yet, we're still searching for something more, something that feels like the real thing. We crave the connection, the meaning, the sense of belonging that our ancestors found in their rituals. But now we're finding it in pixels and likes. So what happens when we start to see our modern habits not as distractions, but as echoes of something far older? What if understanding this connection could help us reclaim our attention, our time, and our sense of purpose? It's a question that goes beyond psychology. It touches on the very essence of what it means to be human in a world that's changing faster than our brains can keep up. And that's a question worth exploring. Ancient rituals weren't just about worship. They were about control, repetition, and reward. They were the earliest forms of what we now call behavioral conditioning. Early humans would gather around a fire, chant, dance, or perform a symbolic act, and in doing so, they were reinforcing neural pathways that linked action to reward. Keiser is allowgis of the action via reward. Case of an accentuation, analysis sort of accentuation visuals. It wasn't about the fire itself. It was about the sense of belonging, the shared experience, and the dopamine release that came with it. That same dopamine release that came with it. That same dopamine release is what keeps us scrolling, swiping, and clicking today. Think about the structure of a ritual. It's repetitive, predictable, and often involves a sense of anticipation. You know what's coming next, but you're still drawn to it. That's exactly how many of our modern digital experiences are designed. Social media feeds, video games, even the way we're trained to respond to notifications. These are all built on the same psychological scaffolding that once helped our ancestors survive. The ritual of checking your phone, the anticipation of a new message, the reward of a like or a comment. These are all ancient instincts dressed in modern code. And it's not just about the content we consume. It's about the way we consume it, the rhythm of a scroll, the instant gratification of a reaction, the endless loop of novelty. All of it taps into these same neural circuits that once helped our ancestors track the seasons, prepare for danger, and bond with their tribe. The brain doesn't care if the stimulus is a fire or a screen. It just wants the same reward, the same sense of control, the same feeling of being part of something bigger. But here's the twist. In the past, these rituals served a purpose. They helped us survive, connect, and thrive. Today, they're often pulling us in the opposite direction, away from real connection, real meaning, and real purpose. So the question becomes, are we the masters of these rituals, or are we being mastered by them? If we're being mastered, what does that say about the kind of humans we're becoming? From tribal dances to TikTok trends, the structure of addiction has remained eerily consistent. But here's where it gets wild. The symbols we once carved into caves are now embedded in our algorithms, and the rituals we once performed for survival are now performed for likes. This isn't just a coincidence. It's a neurological echo. We're not just reacting to new technology. We're reenacting ancient patterns, often without realizing it. The same neural pathways that once helped our ancestors find food, avoid danger, and bond with their tribe are now being activated by the flicker of a screen, the buzz of a notification, or the rush of a new post. It's as if our brains are trying to make sense of the modern world by using the same tools they've always had: pattern recognition, reward prediction, and social bonding. And the more we engage with these modern rituals, the more they shape us. We start to crave the instant gratification that comes with a reaction, a follow, or a share. We become conditioned to expect that same rush every time we scroll, every time we swipe, every time we swipe, every time we post. It's not just about the content, it's about the experience, the ritual, the reward loop that keeps us coming back for more. But here's the thing, our ancestors didn't have to worry about the long term consequences of their rituals. They were designed for survival, not for distraction. Today, we're facing a different kind of challenge, one where the very tools that keep us connected are also keeping us trapped in cycles of overstimulation, comparison, and dissatisfaction. So, what does this mean for us? Are we still in control, or are we being guided by forces we don't fully understand? And if we're being guided, what does that say about the kind of future we're creating for ourselves and for the next generation? It's a question that goes beyond psychology. It touches on the very core of what it means to be human in a world that's changing faster than our brains can keep up. The patterns never change, only the tools we use to feed them. Understanding this hidden link between ancient rituals and modern addiction doesn't just explain our cravings, it gives us the power to rewrite them. We've spent centuries trying to understand what makes us tick, what drives our behaviors, and what keeps us hooked. What if the answer has been right in front of us all along? What if the same forces that once brought our ancestors together around firelight are now pulling us towards screens, notifications, and endless content? It's not about the tools, it's about the patterns they activate in our brains. This isn't just a psychological observation, it's a call to awareness. When we recognize that our modern habits are rooted in ancient instincts, we gain the ability to step back, reflect, and make more intentional choices. We can begin to see our digital rituals not as inevitable traps, but as choices. Choices we can reframe, redirect, and even replace. The key lies in understanding the structure of these patterns. Rituals, whether ancient or modern, are built on repetition, reward, and meaning. If we can recognize how our modern behaviors are structured in the same way, we can begin to break the cycle. We can create new rituals that serve us. Rituals that bring us joy, connection, and purpose, rather than distraction and dissatisfaction. So the next time you find yourself scrolling, swiping, or checking your phone, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, what am I really seeking? Is it connection, meaning, or just the familiar rhythm of a reward loop? And most importantly, can I choose something different? And we're not just a product of our environment, we're the architects of our own neural pathways. And that's a power worth reclaiming. Leave a comment with your biggest modern day ritual or trigger. What's the one thing you find yourself doing on autopilot? Is it checking your phone first thing in the morning? Scrolling through the same feeds over and over? Maybe it's the way you start your day with a specific routine, or the way you react to stress with a familiar habit. Whatever it is, it's a ritual, one that's been shaped by the same forces that guided our ancestors through the caves and across the plains. And if you're ready to dig deeper into the hidden forces shaping your mind, hit subscribe. Because this isn't just about understanding why we do the things we do. It's about reclaiming the power to choose, to step out of the loop, to recognize the patterns, and to build new ones that serve us better. The past is whispering, and it wants you to listen, not to be trapped by it, but to understand it, to see how the same instincts that once helped us survive are now shaping our modern lives in ways we barely notice. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So take a moment to reflect. What's your ritual? What's the trigger that pulls you in? And what would happen if you started to question it? Because the more you understand the forces at play, the more control you have over your own behavior. This is just the beginning. There's so much more to uncover about how our minds work, how our habits form, and how we can reshape them for the better. So hit that subscribe button and let's keep this conversation going. Because when it comes to understanding the human mind, there's always more to explore.